When a fire starts to burn, there's a lesson you must learn. Something, something, then you'll see. You'll avoid catastrophe. Don't!
Hello gang and welcome to Displaying Model Behaviour, another review coming at you like Cleopatra. We are going to be looking at the G.I. Joe Classifieds Search and Rescue Fireman. This was one that I really wanted and I almost let pass me by because Dave was being thrifty and I was like, do I really need this? Because the reason I wanted it was because I want him to be an accessory for my big superhero fight scenes. I wanted to have Spider-Man scooping him up. I had this vision in my mind palace of Spider-Man scooping him up, putting the fireman hat on, and swinging him to safety. That was what I envisioned I could use this figure for. Does it work? Well, we'll find out a little bit later. But I did let him pass me by because he's a little bit more expensive. I was trying to be thrifty. I saw him at Toy Tuber Expo a couple of months ago. And I was like, do I go for it? And I didn't. When I got home to England, I was like, dang it, Dave. You should have oughta got him. And then I went over to Hong Kong to see Juanita and I met up with a friend of mine. We went out on a toy hunt and there he was, sat on the shelf of a small little Hong Kong action figure store. And I said, you, sir, are coming home with me. And now that I've got him, I'm really glad I do. I was trying to be very sort of financially cautious and I was like, I'll just get him for the review and then I'll sell him on. But now that I've played around with him for a bit, I think I might want to keep him, which is not financially sensible, but what toy collector is sensible, am I right? They've put so much into this. It's really, really well done. This is just like, what's great about firemen is that they generally wear like the same looking gear depending on whatever country they're in because it's always form over style. You know, you're going to wear what's going to save your life when fighting fire. So English firemen, American firemen, it's all like a fairly universal look. And they nailed it. I mean, this definitely feels like a real labor of love from the Hasbro G.I. Joe Classifieds team because they've gone into the itty-bitty little detail. I'm not an expert on firefighting. I can't tell you what regulators and dubaflators that you need to be a fireman, but it looks like it's all here and it's very beautifully put together. So just going from like top to bottom, I mean, I've got him with a whole lot of his gubbins on, but even then there's more gubbins. There's so much gubbins this guy comes with. The firefighter hat, I absolutely love. This was what I imagined popping on Spider-Man's head while he swings him to safety. You got the gas mask as well. A huge thing, I said like huge, it's not like a crazy revelation, but you've got two different heads as well. So you got the white skin tone and the black skin tone. So you can really start to army build these guys if you want a whole squad of firefighters. I mean, with all the different helmets and masks and you've got goggles as well. Even if it was just the one head, you could still differentiate them. But having the different ethnicities in there too, it's a real nice touch. You can really play around with that. Although speaking of the faces, one thing that's a little bit of a miss is that it's just a very stoic face for either one of the heads. It's very just kind of like, sort of by the numbers, looking at a big raging inferno going, yep, that's a fire. So something that was a bit more expressive would have been kind of nice, but I'll let it pass because most of these guys, they're gonna have their helmets and goggles and things on anyway. And speaking of the gas mask and the regulator, the breathing apparatus, that's real nice. You got the softer rubber for the hose that goes into the regulator tank on his back there, which of course, as you can see, can be removed. You can have him without it, but it does look like a little bit funny having the plain little thing there on the back. You want to have that on there. So, but hey, it's nice to have the options to take things off, remove them, play around with the looks. And of course, the strap that holds it onto his body is a separate piece as well. So that doesn't hinder the movement too much. It allows him to look more real, like he's a real person with extra things strapped and locked and loaded on his person. The little dial regulator on the side there, it's a nice little touch as well. And you can see as I'm moving him about, he's got the metallic sheen of the silver, of the high vis on there as well. Like another thing, just kind of bringing him to life, making him feel more realistic, real world. And interestingly, I got to admit, once I got him out of the box, I wasn't 100% convinced with him because, of course, being a realistic fireman, or a fire a firefighting person. What was like the term they use? Like, oh, you can't say fireman now, fire operative. I don't know. What have I got? I got a little message. Oh no, that's okay. I'm going to keep on keeping on. Yeah, I was a bit underwhelmed because he's just like a bit of a black blob, and then he's so kind of cumbersome with his thick gear. I'm like, I'm not really feeling you. But then I managed to pose him around a little bit, twist the torso, put some weapons in his hands. I say weapons, well, weapons for fighting fire, I guess. And then he actually does get a lot more toyetic, and you can really get some fun, interesting, dynamic poses rather than just the fire block. Firefighter. That's just the name, isn't it? You just say firefighter, don't you? That's a kind of a non-gender specific fire person. Anyway, I'm really belaboring a nothing point. Yeah, once I played around with him more, like any good figure, the more you play with it, the more fun it becomes, or at least it should do, unless it's some garbage figure like that Revoltech Venom that just I gave out about years ago, where the more you play with it, the more bits fall off of it. This is quite the opposite. Once you've got everything clamped in and locked on, it's there, it's good, it's sticking around. And speaking of all those things, man, like I said, you're spoiled for choice. There is a smorgasbord of firefighting equipment there. Just first of all, you've got the big axe, you've got the small axe, you've got the big mallet. Triple H would love that. I'm sure that when he needs to break down doors during a fire, he'll like hold the head of the hammer and go gadoosh, just like good old Triple H style. It's like, that's not really the most practical way of using a hammer, but all right. And so yeah, he's got the smaller mallet as well. He's got like the little crowbar-y looking thing, and I was like, what is that? Is he gonna like barbecue some sausages on there? And then I realized, no, doofus, that's a manhole cover opening, isn't it? At least I think it is. Which then made me think, it would have been nice if he came with a manhole cover accessory as well. But this is not the figure to be complaining about accessories with. He's got plenty. And then, of course, he's got the big Jaws of Life as well, which I'm sure I've seen with a previous G.I. Joe Classifieds figure. I can't think of it. It doesn't spring to mind, but it exists, doesn't it? It's out there. It was a thing. So he is spoiled for choice. And then just, like I said, the little details on the suit, like all the different pockets and pouches on like the combat trousers, the belt and the buckles that go around him, even the little bits of detail on the harness that holds the oxygen tank, and then even on the oxygen tank, breathable air, 300 bar, 435 PSI, it's actual legit details. Really, really love that. So then, of course, I thought to myself, well, I've got him. He's all posed up. Can I get him in my Spider-Man pose? And the answer is a resounding yes. And that's what sold him to me. That's what made me decide, you know what? I got to keep this guy because I love that. Who rescues the rescuer? Well, Spider-Man, of course. This is how I'm going to have Spidey posed in my display. I love it. I really do. And now I'm looking forward to maybe getting a police officer and some ambulance paramedic technicians. That would be great to have as well. I'm liking my civilians. This is a nice touch. And then, of course, just before I peace out here, with the articulation, it's just what you would expect from Classifieds. That's why I won't linger on it for too long. So he's got nice double-jointed knees, double-jointed elbows, no visible pins. Just feels more high-end. And it should do, because it does cost a little bit more than your average figure. So you're paying extra, but also you're getting what you pay for. So with that in mind, let's give him a grade. And so for the G.I. Joe Classified Search and Rescue figure, I'm going to give this guy 4 out of 5 stars with a boom seal of model behavior. I really would be very tempted to give him a full 5 stars, but I just want to say that I would need to have a more animated looking face and also maybe some actual flame effects to put around him. That would be a real nice touch as well. I'm imagining what Storm Collectibles did with Scorpion. If you had some flames you could put on the ground and have him charging through, that would look real nice. I would happily swap out the Jaws of Life or maybe some other accessories for that. But that's just me. That's my own personal opinion. Still, 4 out of 5 stars and a badass seal of approval. I'd say that's a pretty good grade for a pretty good action figure. But folks, what do you think about the G.I. Joe Classified Search and Rescue figure? Comment below. Let me know. And until next time, keep displaying model behavior.
No! Our house is on fire! Quick, we have to get out! Wait a minute! The door is locked! We're trapped!
That's right, I trapped you, because you haven't joined up to become Model Behavior channel members.
We're sorry, Barbecue. If you help us escape, we promise to join the channel members section.
All right, come on, you little rascals, get out here.
Well, Barbecue, thanks for rescuing us.
That's all right. And now you're YouTube channel members, so I'm not gonna have to burn your freaking house down.
Yay!
All right, I gotta go. There's a lot of people who aren't channel members. I'm gonna burn their houses down.
Thanks, Barbecue. Now we know to be channel members.
And knowing is half the battle.